Okay, guys, so this is going to be the ammonia test. With the ammonia test, one important thing before you get going is we do have some calculations here. And what we need to do is we need to make sure that we have our pH done and our temperature done before we do the test, because we have this chart, and so we got to match our pH over here with the temperature we have, and then that's going to give us a number that we can plug into that equation. So it's important that we have that done prior to doing the ammonia test. Okay, so we have already done that. We found out our pH of our sample earlier was about 8.2, 8.4, and our temperature is about 22 degrees Celsius, maybe a little less, about 20. So now we can do this ammonia test. So for this one, we're going to need our two samples. You can see I've already collected my water sample from the tank. And this one's a little bit different because it wants you to add 5 milliliters of deionized water, which also comes in your test kit. Okay, so it'll say deionized, demineralized water. Okay, so we're just going to fill that to that 5 milliliter mark. Okay. Okay. So now, want to make sure we keep these separate, don't get them mixed up, because this is going to be our control. Okay, so now the next step is it wants us to add 1 drop of our Rochelle's solution, okay, or Rochelle's indicator. Okay, and so that is this guy here. Okay, so we'll do 1 drop in each. Okay, now next, you want to swirl those around so that's good and mixed in there. Okay. So again, we have our actual water sample and our control. Okay, then we want to add 3 drops of the Nestler's reagent. So this is the Nestler's reagent. Guys, this stuff is a little bit kind of nasty. So you don't want to be getting it all over you. If you get it on your hands, just rinse it off. The caps are kind of funky. So we're going to go ahead and we want to add 3 drops to each of our samples. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. With that. Oh, you. Okay, so fresh new sample. Now, the big thing with this one is it says you want to wait about 10 minutes for the color to change on here. So it might take a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. We'll come back in a minute when we can actually get a little color. Okay, so now it's been about 10 minutes and didn't have a lot of color change on here. But again, we're just using our color match with this and our dial. So the big thing is, as we look at this, again, our control sample goes to the outside. Our water test goes to the inside. We want to hold it up with some light behind us so we can kind of see. And as you spin that dial, you can see here, the one on the outside, much, much darker, right? So we want to try and spin that dial until we can get something that looks a little bit more like a match there. And so now we're looking pretty good. It's hard to tell on the camera, but that's looking pretty good. And so what we see is we're at about 2.1 down here on our little dial. And so that's going to be the number that we then plug into the equation. Okay, so we're going to use that, and then that's going to be able to calculate our ammonia levels or our toxic nitrogen. Okay, good job.